Well, good morning, good evening, whatever it is, and welcome to Dr. Pluring's Computer Laboratorium, number 12 in the series. And this, the original video is to be seen as well, but that's 2 hours 20 minutes of basically this, what you're seeing now, but in real time. So this is sped up a bit to 7 minutes or whatever it came out to. And, well, yeah, I needed to finish this project because it's been standing around for too long a time at this point, taking up space and so on. So that's what I am working on here. And currently we're working on a bus bar for the 12-volt rail and connecting that via that thick black 4 square millimeter cable to the power supply. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how many of the yellow wires coming out of that connector to use here and to try to get a good power balance as possible out of this. And I think I ended up using 3 or something, 3 or 4. Yeah, you can pause and count them if you like. It doesn't really matter. And there we go, soldering that together to the thick cable going to the front of the box that supplies all the hard drive base and also the system drive and a little extra power connector that I have dangling loose in there for whatever future purposes that you could want or need and so on. So there we go, and now it is time to do the 5-volt rail, and here I opted for trying out a piece of Chinese solder that I bought off AliExpress. That is, it has the exact same markings as my old Singaporean made solder. That roll is over 20 years old at the very least. It has the same markings, but it definitely behaves in a completely different fashion. I mean, it just doesn't flow, that solder. It's rubbish. So, but at least I've tested it now here on the 5-volt rail. But I think here for the connection to the back to the power supply, I went with the Singaporean solder. Because that's simply a superior product. Such a superior product. There we have an inferior piece of heat shrink, the red one. There it sort of tends to burn more than shrink. Also very thin. There I think I looked at how much power does a hard drive actually draw. And yeah, see the original video if you want more in-depth analysis into that and so on. But here we go. Yeah, now connecting, I suppose, 5-volt to power supply, or to the connector that goes into the power supply later on. Right, and more heat shrink. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to use a lighter for the heat shrink. I know you're supposed to use the heat gun or one of those little welding torches and just use the indirect heat from it. But I don't have a heat gun and my little welding torch is broken. So it takes what you have, you know. And here we are now, I am now joining together power leads for that connector that goes to the external connectors. I have those 4 external SAS connectors going to the SAS card. Right there, the second card of the 2 that we see mounted. Oh, the leftmost one is for those external drives. The rightmost one has an external SAS or something connector that goes into the hard drive box that we see just behind here. 15 bay, whatever it is, loud as fucking hell. This is what it is. But there we have it. It is now soldered together, and a bit of zip ties to tie it together, and also here insulating the leftover cables that I didn't quite need. It turned out I didn't quite need there, connecting power to CPU and strapping the the cable in for the external bit. Yeah. There you can see that the red SAS SATA cables, they don't really have anything around them. They're scraping against the chassis. But I'll get back to that and put something around it right there. Eventually. Maybe. There we have a proper zip tie. For some reason, but I'm not using it. I think I just illustrated the differences in quality. Here we have insulating the power rail, 5-volt power rail with electrical tape over the bits that I've soldered on, and then a bit of heat shrink over the tip of it, and more electrical tape over that in turn. The reason for using a heat shrink first and then the electrical tape is that if I want to add something to that in the future, if I would have put the electrical tape directly onto the copper, and I would have removed the electrical tape, it would leave a lot of gluish, nasty residue. And I don't want that, so that's why I put a heat shrink tube over it first. There we have the system drive being connected power, and I think, yeah, there it's a bit of double-sided tape to hold it in place. And yeah, there we go, it is moved. And my old keyboard, custom paint job on it, came out because it has a PS2 connector, and this board in this machine now has a PS2 connector, so I get the opportunity to use it. However, as we can see here, the machine isn't quite powering on, regrettably. And I'm a little bit stumped as to why. However, it's it turns out that it is possible to get it to work again, but you will have to tune in for the next installment of Dr. Plurin's Computer Laboratorium to see what happens. But there, just check that the power was okay, and it was okay, and that's that for Dr. Plurin's Computer Laboratorium number 12. Thank you so very much for watching. Cheerio and good night.